spoke for 3 years on one line in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song Udila Arana Purna Bhage, where there's one line that says, Nam Ashraya, it says, take shelter of the holy name. I believe one time, Jayadvaita Maharaj, you were in Mayapur, and you weren't so happy with what was going on, and they asked you to give class.
No, we were at a temple, so many people spoke.
Oh, okay. Okay, because I heard that you gave, you gave one sentence. And they asked you to speak, and you said, you quoted Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this temporary material world is full of suffering. Take shelter of the holy name of Krishna as your only business. The sadhu, he spoke for 3 years on that verse. Because that's the essence of Krishna consciousness, to have that sense. We have so many anxieties, so many wants, so many things are going beyond our control. But we should have some sense in our Nam Bhajan that this is shelter. I'm at the right place. I'm satisfied. Everything will be okay in this activity of chanting the holy name. So I thought what we do is this, because it became quiet again. Why don't we just all chant one round at different paces and try to meditate on the holy name with Sharanagati, which means the mood that I have shelter here, and pray, as Madhavananda Prabhu said to this tree, that the fruit of my activities is that I can get the proper sadhu sangha to help me go forward in my spiritual life, that will enthuse in my heart this faith for the holy name. And whatever little inspiration you got from coming to this place, put it into your chanting and put it into your prayers. I mentioned before that Jiva Goswami mentions this very much. We may be at the obligatory stage of executing our spiritual activities, but we should put our prayers and aspirations into our spiritual activities. The difference between Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti is spontaneous devotion means that your consciousness is focused on the activity. You're not just doing it because it's a rule. The success of your chanting is not just the last bead that comes down. I fulfilled my obligation. The success of your chanting is your focus on the activity now. That's the essence of Raganuga Bhakti. So you have to put within your chanting some relevance, some thought, some conception, some feeling. And one feeling you could put is this is shelter, or the prayer can be, please, Nam, Prabhu, give me the association of your pure devotees. So you can pray to this tree. Some inspiration. So let's chant for one round. And it won't all be the same, and I may even just chant a half a round and become spontaneous myself and say it's time to go. And then I think Madhavananda Prabhu will tell you just something about the Gundicha, where we'll go. Some significance of it. I know I put you in a spot. I asked you to explain a very deep subject in 30 seconds. But something about the Gundicha, and then Madhavananda Prabhu, you can think. On this, we're going down the Grand Road. We can meditate also on that kirtan. 7 kirtan parties with all the great associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and a certain amount, I think there was 2 Madangas and maybe 14 kartals and 1 dancer and 1 singer, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu jumping in the air in ecstasy and becoming so absorbed in the chanting that the cognitive aspect that I am falling, the thought that I am falling was not there. He's so absorbed in the ecstasy. Crash on the floor. And his associates following him around with like a cloth, like old-time firemen. Someone's jumping out of a building, looking for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the ecstasy of his kirtan and his exchanges with the Lord Jagannath, because it's the mood of Radharani, and he's trying to get that mood, taking Krishna back to Vrindavan. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his ecstasy dances behind the cart stops moving. Why? Well, Krishna is not going to go to Vrindavan if Radharani's not in Vrindavan. So the exchanges between Krishna and the deity and the kirtans. And just like when Krishna was taking prasadam with the cowherd boys, millions and millions of cowherd boys, every single cowherd boy was looking at Krishna and thinking, Krishna is looking at me. Because Krishna can reciprocate with his devotees. So same thing in kirtan. There's a wonderful kirtan leader. One type of ecstasy is while he's doing kirtan and you're responding, they look at you in reciprocation. Well, all the devotees in the kirtan had that experience with Lord Chaitanya. So it's a very wonderful pastime, and we can meditate on that also. Let's just chant. If you want to walk and sit by the tree, that's okay. This is a very nice area to do it. So we will. Hare Krishna.
Oh my God, there's a camel. See the camel?
Haribo up there. We don't know why you're stopping.
Are you on?
Yeah.
What, he's fuming? Look at, they have his mouth strapped.
Wow, that was weird, huh?
Yeah.
That's sugar cane there. They're doing sugar cane juice. Yeah, we've completely degraded ourselves here now. We're just tourists.
Okay, got it? Got it.
The Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's birthplace, this one.
Oh.
When the Rath is coming, the first Maharaj went to birth, that time the Rath is stopped here. It's not going behind this. Then they came out and they worshiped the Jagannath, then Rath is going.
Really? So that's where Bhakti.
Very old temple, this one, very old.
And so this is where he would pray? Pray? Hey. So this is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati's temple where he took birth.
And the Rath cart stops.
It ran over the dog's leg.
Hey, look, there's Prabhupada.
That was cool.
Highlighted at the end, it's a great science. And it's beyond any human being's ability to figure it out. No one who can figure out what happened millions and billions of years ago. There's two different methods for attaining knowledge. One is to try and figure it out yourself. It's called the inductive method, aroha. You try to ascend, you try to figure it out, you try to figure out, and this is the basic concept of science. That you have a theory, you think it might have happened this way, and then you conduct various experiments to try and see if it's true. But how can you do that with such a big thing that's so old and so much more vast than anyone's mind or intelligence? It's not a practical way to try and find that out. Another method for attaining knowledge is to hear from someone who knows. Someone constructed it. If you just like if they have if all of a sudden in one of your rooms, behind one of the walls, there's like a water spot. There's some leak there. And you go in and you try to find a pipe, and there's no pipe. It's going back into the building, some deep spot in there. So you can continue to try and dig and break half the building trying to find your little pipe with a leak. Or you could go to the architectural plans, see where the plumbing lines go, find that area, and then go find it. It's a much easier method. So in the same way, trying to understand who supplied these ingredients, where they came from, how it was all put together, how long it took, what were the events that took place, is impossible, practically speaking, for scientists to deduce. But if we hear, this is the main difference between the Vedas. Veda means knowledge. Vedic knowledge comes down. It comes from God, from the Supreme Being who created this cosmic manifestation, and he reveals it. So this particular chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita is about that person who supplies the ingredients for this material world, and how, in order to assist another part of himself, the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to this world and performed pastimes. There's one verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam that's probably one of the pillars of our philosophy. Vedanti tat vavidas tatvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti paratmatmeti bhagavan iti sabjate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paratmatma, and Bhagavan. Most of you have heard about these different features of the Supreme Lord. The example is given of the sun. The sun is one. Advayam means it's non-dual. It's one. But there are different features to that one. Just like we look at the sun, there's some shine. That shine is really non-different than the sun. There's the sun globe, and that's non-different than the sun. And then there's a person, the sun god. So all three are basically the same one, but different features of that same thing. Another example Srila Prabhupada gave is when you look in the distance at a mountain. It looks like a cloud. You can't really see it clearly. It's one. As you approach it, you may see some smoke, you may see some trees, maybe a building or two. You get a little more clear conception of it. And then when you finally get to that hill, as you walk towards it, you see people, you see abodes, you see all the details, the flowers and plants and everything like that. It's the same thing, but you're looking at it differently. So, Vadanti vidas tatvam yad jnanam advayam brahmaiti paratmatmeti bhagavan iti sabdyate explains that there's the Brahman, the all-pervasive energy of the Lord, Paratmatma, the Supreme Lord in each one of our hearts, each living being within their heart. So much goes on in our body that we don't even know about, how our hair grows and our fingernails grow. We don't think about it, digest food, all these things going on. Somebody's there doing that. Sometimes we get intelligence, you get an idea, you don't even know where it came from. Somebody gave that to you. And then there's the Supreme Person himself, separate from all of it. But it's all one and the same. So in the same way, there's another verse describing the Panchatattva. Many of you just came from Mayapur, I heard Maharaj say. Panchatattva, the 5 deities of Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, and Srivas. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam, Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam, Bhaktavataram Bhaktakjam, Namama Bhakti Shaktikam. Let me offer my obeisances to Sri Krishna, one, who manifests himself as 5. A devotee, an expansion of a devotee, an incarnation of a devotee, a pure devotee, and devotional energy. The example is given, just like a king. He shows one persona before his citizens. He's the king. But when he's home with his wife and children, they don't revere him like the king. His position of the king is still known, but there's much more intimacy with that person rather than just thinking he's the king. Or even another example might be a prime minister or a president as an elected government official. He's there, but everyone knows that he's another person as well. So, in the same way, if we were to expand ourselves, which we can't do, but we have different aspects of our personality. This is one of the differences between the living entity, tiny living us, and the Supreme Being. When the Supreme Being, he has the ability to expand himself. The example is given, just like a candle. If you have a candle, and you light another candle, and then another candle, and then another candle, you can light unlimited candles with your candle. The original candle still has a particular attribute as the original candle, but all the other candles that have been lit basically have the same power, candle power, as that candle. So they're non-different, but yet they are different. So in the same way, Krishna expands himself, and there are particular personality traits that everyone has, but Krishna has them unlimitedly. And if you take one particular trait, it can expand as an individual person. And it may look different and act different, but yet he's non-different. It's inconceivable. It's called achintya. The Lord is inconceivable. But by hearing, we can understand these different examples.
But the absorption itself, and even coming down here, that sense, that's what we want in bhakti. We want to be free from time. The past, lamenting, oh, what I could have done. And the future, oh, what I want. We want to be there in the moment. Now, absorbed. And that's Raganuga Bhakti. That's real Bhakti. So sometimes it takes a little bit of a push. So those of you that are left now, you're on the platform of Raganuga Bhakti. Okay, so I'm going to ask Madhavananda now to